This week, Bad Kid Stories, that is the most real thing I have ever experienced in my life. I got fired from working at Red Robin for doing that. When do we get to bury him in a thing and jerk off on him, though? I'd say I can take on 3 11-year-olds. And he clicks the button and he gets this woman causing him the fucking... This is the weirdest theory I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, in a lot of ways, Big Boy has never left. Anti-pedophile. He will tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that. I'm convicted and I'm deep, and then people fall for absolute monsters on a regular basis.
Hey, hello. It's another week and another episode of Two Hippies, One Drunk. You're listening to, as I just said, Two Hippies, One Drunk. I am this week's host, Eric Beatty. Thank you so much for checking us out. If you have not liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd really appreciate it. Stuff like that and sharing our posts are really big for getting a podcast like us growing, and we are growing every week, which is awesome. Tyler sends texts once in a while the numbers, and they seem to be going up every week. They're growing every week, so we appreciate that. And honestly, at this point, we've all exhausted, what we can do as far as sharing the posts. So honestly, it's people liking the posts and liking posts we make and stuff like that keeps things in the algorithm and other people seeing them. So we appreciate that. This show's a little different than most in that we rotate host each week between 3 longtime comedy friends, Scott Ryan,
right here,
and Tyler Charles,
right here.
And I am Eric Fady, hosting again this week of Two Hippies, One Drunk. So,
woo.
We should mention that we had a winner of our contest that we throw out. Can you explain that better? Because I'm terrible at explaining things. So you guys want to explain in general, and then someone won?
Yeah, we have a drawing we're doing right now where once a week, everybody who has given us a 5-star review and a comment on iTunes gets either... we have one winner each week. Why did you put this on me? I'm terrible.
No, Tyler is. I thought Tyler was going to do it. That's why.
He's the best one. He goes, you do it. Anyway.
I didn't want to do it. Okay, whatever.
So, okay, well, now that I've started, let me.
Right. I will let you finish.
No, but, once every week, we're going to do a drawing, and the winner gets either 2 of Tyler's drawings for the show and 1 of his originals, or an hour-long tarot reading from me. And we had our first winner this week. And, I'm excited. He bought one of Tyler's drawings and then asked for an hour-long reading from me, which is pretty cool. So
very cool.
Yep. Friday.
Yeah, and thank you for the review. Appreciate you actually doing that and proving it to us, actually sending it to our Facebook page just like we asked. And
Brendan Pratt, by the way.
Yeah, Brendan Pratt, thank you. Shout out. You're amazing.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
Things go well with the tarot reading.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what subject he wants, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I hope I don't have to let him
That's
down.
That's why I said I hope. I didn't say I.
What a weird. I never thought about that before, but has anyone ever done a quote unquote contest before where you could win and then find out that you're gonna die of cancer or something?
It's a fortune teller. That's the end.
It's a real monkey's paw of a contest.
Right.
Yeah.
What a twist that would be in the end. It was like, oh wow, that was a terrible situation. I should never have picked that, but. I mean, it's going to happen anyway. Whatever you tell them is going to happen, is going to happen. So they'll just know about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get going here, and basically, I think I don't know how to explain the exact premise of the show, but I just love music. Anyone that knows me knows how much I love music. All kinds for the most part. I'm open to any type of music. Now, I don't particularly like some jazz. For one, by the way, I'm not a jazz fan. But nothing against it, whatever. So anyway, I had
what is it about jazz?
Yeah,
jazz.
You know what? I just and to be fair, I will say I'm not going to pretend that I've given it a lot of chances. Right? I haven't sat at a jazz club or something and really
taken it in.
Yeah, taken it in. But I have heard it in the times that I have heard jazz.
Yeah.
I've just not been a fan of it for whatever reason. I am sure that I could find some song. I like music enough that I am sure if I searched the internet, I could find some type of jazz I might like. But in the times that I have experienced it, I have not been a fan. So
is there a big jazz person that's existed in the last like 10 or 20 years? Like anybody I can think of is from like.
I only know one name, I think, and that's the name, I guess. What is it? Kenny G? I guess. Is he jazz?
Is that a new
Kenny
guy?
G?
He's an older
God,
guy,
no.
isn't he?
God, no. I think he's
yeah.
from the
Yeah,
90s or something.
But yeah, anyway.
So I guess
Lisa
everybody
Simpson.
else agrees.
Or Bleeding Gums Murphy. I can think of Bleeding Gums Murphy.
We kick jazz right to the. I like jazz. I'm a fan.
I could see Tyler being a jazz fan. I could see him being a jazz fan. So my thing was, I
like
as we get
old band with different instruments.
Now, see, it's weird. I'm like even jam bands. I've been to Electric Forest, as actually we all three have been.
Yep.
And if I'm in the festival setting, I can sit. They have a big at Electric Forest. There's a big band that always plays there. That's a jam band called I think it's a String Cheese Orchestra.
The String Cheese Incident.
Yeah, there we go. And I can dig it for like a little bit if I'm a little buzzed. I can kind of sit there, but in the end, I'm usually like I just don't like it for long periods of time. Even jam bands, I can.
You know what's funny about that is like okay, when we went to that Electric Forest music festival. Like my one experience with the String Cheese Incident, that still when people bring it up, all I can think about that makes me not like them, probably unjustifiably. It's just that we had like 3 different sets of neighbors, and 2 of them were really cool.
Yeah.
And one of them were kind of stuck up, and they were kind of assholes, and they were super into the String Cheese Incident.
That's funny.
I remember laying in my tent and hearing them come back from the couch and be like, "Oh, Cheese killed it, man! Cheese killed it!" And it just turned me on the whole band.
That's funny, honestly, God. Like even with music or non-music, like there are people don't like to admit it, and like all of us 3, for example, are pretty positive guys. We don't try to hate on things, but it is funny how things in life, mostly. Did you do the hand thing? I think mostly.
Hand thing. Scott's in the room.
I think that at the heart, though,
much less of a hater.
Yeah, that's true. You still got that hater.
Well, even though Tyler's like me, or Scott's like me, I think in a sense is that we have a very cynical and dark thing at times, but I think deep down, for the most part, he's a positive person. Like, but
okay, you don't think so?
Positive person across the board, maybe not.
No. My point is I don't think that he goes around with anger looking to hate things. Now he might.
I think he does.
Wow, okay. I am just getting shot down left and right.
I feel like Scott likes to critique shit.
I would say I'm a mostly positive person with a hipster's disdain of
anything popular.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, see, here's the difference to me. I am highly like if anyone's ever walked around with me, I am the guy that is going to rip everything and anything. If you didn't know me, like for example, you could hear a person who will make fun of a freaking person in a wheelchair or something, because it's like, they really couldn't get up that ramp. Come on, or something. I don't know what that point was, but the point is like, but inwardly, that's not really how I am. Like, I don't actually walk around, like hating people. But if you sit with me, I will sit there and like say things that sound very vulgar and very like mean, but I don't really mean them in a sense. Like,
I agree with that. Actually, that's kind of my perspective. I would say that I hate for sport. Yeah, more than
I would agree with that.
Which is different to me. Which is highly different than actual hate.
Yeah, fair enough. I just feel like there are times where it's just like,
well, him a little better.
Don't ruin this for me. Just let me be.
Well, don't drag me to the Marvel movie then. Find another friend to go with you.
No, you're going to see it and you're going to like it.
Now, see, the funny thing is, that is true. I have not hung out with him enough because I tend to be someone who, like, again, like I said, dude, I mean,
you're up for anything. There's a different
I always say this
thing.
For an example, like I've told this story for a long time. Like my grandpa, my mom, on my mom's side, my mom's dad, I've almost I don't know. If there's another time I've cried in my life more than when he died, I don't know about it. He meant so much to me. But having said that, near the end of his life, he had Alzheimer's, and it was fucking funny at times. Like it was.
Yeah, and my grandmother had Alzheimer's too.
Yeah.
He was like, the crazy lady that forgets things and comes back in the room every once in a while.
Well, I was like on a trip one time with him. We went up to some family reunion with my mom and my grandma and him, and they went out for some reason for some one day, and we went to lunch. And like, I literally just sat there across the table from him. I was like, "Do you even know where you are right now?" And he's like, "No, I don't." And I thought it was fucking funny. So
at least he was honest. At least
because he didn't fucking know.
Yeah,
but the point
I had no idea.
I could say that to some people, and they'd be like, "Dude, that's fucking awful. That's mean." It's like, dude, he's my grandpa. I can fucking say it if I want. But anyway, but I don't really mean that. And I loved him. I cried immensely when he died. So anyway, we'll get back into the music here and not on Scott and whether Scott's an asshole or not, I guess.
In your all-timers stories.
But music to me is something, I don't know, music is it just means so much to me. And as we get older, it gets so much harder to find new music because like you do, even if you want to, because it's like, especially now to me with Spotify. So my thought behind some of this was I was going to throw some songs at you guys. And now it turns out Tyler missed the message a little on this, but that's okay. And the idea was that I would throw songs at you two that I thought you would not have heard but might like.
We like.
And you guys would do the same. Tyler ended up showing me 3 songs he really likes.
I really like. I thought that was the thing.
It still works out in music. And you know what? I was going to start a different way, but because I wanted to bring that up, I'm going to start with that. Like, because it's an interesting thing that Tyler didn't even actually do the thing I was technically asking. But in that sense, I found like, so what I'm going to ask this of you guys, but I'm going to do this now only because it kind of came up naturally. Like, I had one song of yours that you picked, Tyler, for example, that was by far my favorite of the 3. If you had to think, and you don't have to say the other songs, I'll say, but if you had to think of the songs you sent me, would you have a guess on what it might be?
I'd say the middle one, the Leon Bridges.
Oh, yeah. Okay. River. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, dude.
That song. A good ass song. So and honestly, when I thought about that I had messed up and just sent you songs I like, I was like, well, he might like that one. Like
so, why don't you say more clearly, because you'll know his name, but you can say it a little.
Yeah, Leon Bridges' River is like, it's a fantastic, beautiful piece of art that honestly is weird because like I've always associated with like past relationships and life stuff. And like I read an interpretation of why he wrote that. And it was essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, no, what do you think?
So for one, by the way, these are my notes on that song. For one, I thought the voice, incredible voice. And I loved the style of the just the singing and the song so much. Which by the way, I would argue
was influenced by "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou."
Okay.
Like that whole soundtrack.
That makes I like the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou."
Yeah.
And just for the record, really quick, Tyler and I also, just to kind of prepare for this, we sent each other, like, we've heard all the songs.
We've heard all the songs.
We sent, like, each other the songs we sent, and we sent the songs you sent to each of us. And also, big fan of River. Big fan. I threw it on my Spotify for sure.
And then
I mean, you've done that on karaoke before.
Yeah.
Like, so I have heard it, but to actually pay attention to it and stuff. Like, solid.
So my interpretation of the song was that it was a great song about how we're just all human and we fuck up and it is, I don't know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We try.
We what?
We try to do our best, but all of us fuck up and you just have to understand that. So that was my interpretation of the song.
Yeah. I mean, art is whatever the hell you interpret it to be.
Of course.
So like it is what you thought, what I thought, all the things. He said he wrote that about his relationship with religion in a very dark time where that was the only form of hope he had.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty obvious too to me that there was some religious undertones in it.
Yep.
But
I thought it was more metaphorical. It felt very, very like it could be a lot of different things. That's why I like it. He's talking about like it might be. It is about like religious stuff, but it's also about like oppression and dealing with like hard times and like running from your problems or being refreshed or renewed.
And I'm sure this is, if you guys thought I would have liked it just beforehand, like if you said that was a song I would like, based on the stuff I sent to Scott, like it would be very obvious then too. Like I have in my older age really started to be more into that, like, I don't know how to explain it almost, but kind of slow, more raw, just a guy with kind of a guitar. And yes, there are people behind him, but like kind of like
I had other songs too. It kind of frustrates me. I wanted if I had known, I would have sent you other songs.
Oh, we can do this again because trust me, I had several that I could have sent you guys to.
Yep.
So, so I'm trying to think where. So yeah, that song, I out of the 3 that you sent me, that song, like I ended up listening to it, by the way, in other form. Like when these days with YouTube, when I really like a song, I'll even like try to find it other places. So like I heard him singing on Austin City Limits. Like I watched a few other videos of him singing it even because I liked it so much.
Yep.
So I wanted to hear it, like how he sung it in different, situations. So that was pretty cool. And I'd never heard of the guy before. Go ahead, Tyler or Scott.
And it's funny. No, I was just going to say, like, one thing I did get out of doing this was, I know you're a really big fan of live performance, and you're a really big fan of, we all like going to concerts and stuff, but I mean, to the point where you will look up different performances at different concerts. And
stuff. I'll spend hours.
I brought up music festivals to you and stuff where you're like, oh yeah, I've watched that on YouTube and shit like that.
Right.
And that's never been my thing. Is when I listen to a song, I want it sounds a certain way in the studio. And then when you hear it live, it would almost become a little bit of a frustrating experience to me because it doesn't sound the way that I'm used to the song sounding. If I'm listening to it on my phone or something like that.
It's not as crisp or
it's not as crisp.
It has its own foreign part though with that. Like,
well, and that's what I was gonna and that's what I was gonna say actually, is like I really did get Eric's his love of live performance.
Oh, I will go down rabbit holes. Ones that he picked,
and I was like, where I could really,
got goosebumps. Honestly, the 2 of them, I really like. The one you sent to Scott.
You want to say what song it was?
Yeah, the girl.
Merry-Go-Round.
Merry-Go-Round.
So this girl, by the way, the song that we're now talking, Casey Musgraves. She's a country singer, but you could almost consider she's like kind of a hippie country singer out of Texas, and she's a songwriter, which I always like people that are songwriters more.
Like an angel, and her voice is just so fucking amazing.
And go ahead, Scott.
I was just gonna say it is interesting to me that that you had that experience with it, because to be honest, there's one of the songs we can get into in a little bit that I really fucking loved that Eric sent me.
Interesting.
That Casey Musgraves one didn't really land with me in a very strong. For me, the reason why I think is because it's interesting. You said she plays the guitar like an angel, and that is, I think, a lot of the ways. One thing I've been thinking about with all of this is the different ways that people experience art and they experience music. And I am a very word-oriented, very analytical person.
Yeah.
And so I never noticed how she was playing the guitar, if I was being honest. I was much more focused on her presentation and on her words.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense. I'm kind of half. I'm half and half, by the way. I'm kind of between you and Scott, or you and Tyler. No, because I don't play guitar. I don't know much about it. Now, again, like you said, in my ever kind of rabbit hole thing, I like to find live performances. So yes, I do like to find ones where I'm like, oh, I just like how this is played. But I don't. Yeah. But I'm also pretty into lyrics. I won't like a song just based on instrument for sure. Yeah. I do, in my mind. Obviously, we can all disagree on if you like lyrics of a song, but in my mind, if the lyrics aren't strong, I won't. If I don't connect to the lyrics, I won't go the other route. If I like the lyrics, then I'll search for dozens of different ways they played the song.
Yeah. So when you listen to a song for the first time, are you listening to the words, or are you just taking it all in?
It's usually I like when you guys sent me these songs, because you guys sent me, again, we all have rather different tastes in music, which is awesome because honestly, I didn't dislike any song you guys sent me. Like, for example, Tyler, in this weird accident, just sent me songs he liked, for example. And he sent me one that was just a piano song. All it was is piano. No words, no. And my notes were kind of like, I liked it, but like, I've never sat there and listened to piano songs before. So I have no like base on like, I assume it's good because Tyler likes it.
I sent you that too because that is been in so many. It's been in like 10 episodes of The Simpsons.
Really?
Or like dramatic scenes. Or whatever.
Yeah. And I feel like we're a little bit like, how should we? I want to structure this in a way.
Yeah,
where for
you're right. You're
listeners
right.
It's the best because I've got stuff I want to say about that, but
Okay.
honestly, I have stuff I want to say about the other songs too. Should we take them like one by one?
Yes.
or,
Okay.
like-
Okay. So I'll bring it back.
We kind of covered River.
Right.
I'll bring it-
Let's cut that one out.
So I'll bring it back to Tyler sent me a song, Leon Bridges, River. I loved it. I am going to look up, pull his stuff on Spotify because I want to hear more from the dude.
He's got
And I would say another thing about that song real quick is that I think it's almost the closest I've come to. It's funny that you said it was kind of based a little bit off of Or Brother They're Out Thou. It was almost a country. I'm not going to say jazz, but a country R&B-ish or something. It had some soul to it, but it was country, and I liked that. I think that's just how I felt. Yeah, okay, bluesy would be bluesy would be the way. There you go. Bluesy was the word I was looking for, and I really dug it. So that was out of the songs that you sent me. Although actually, that was your favorite. I liked all of them, but that was my favorite for sure.
Okay. So then let's reverse to Casey Musgraves' "Merry-Go-Round."
Okay.
I wanted to because I still had a little bit more I wanted to say about that.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
It's funny to me. I was trying to think about why it's too bad we started with the song I probably connected with the least out of the ones that you sent me, because the other two I actually really did like, but in one of them in particular, which we'll get into in a little bit, but the merry-go-round one, I think it's funny to me, when we've talked before about people's different musical tastes and how people will be like, oh yeah, I don't like country. And it's you don't fucking know that. There's a million country songs. You can find anything in any genre that you like.
You should be able to, by the way, I would say.
Yeah. Totally. And I think the reason I had a hard time connecting with that song in particular is kind of sometimes I was thinking about how country and rap compare to each other. And in both of those, because most of the music I listen to is rap, and she is singing really about something that I do connect with in general, which is the idea that poverty can kind of trap you into a cycle and into a situation. But the reason I didn't connect with it as much is because she is singing about how poverty she's talking about poverty in a small rural town. Yeah. And that's not a situation that I've really been in or relate to or understand. Whereas there are a lot of rap songs where I'm oh, they sing about how poverty traps you.
Right.
Through the lens of, living in a city.
Yeah. Now, see, on this song, the reason I've always liked it so much personally is it's weird that, it's just my feeling. Again, with art, like Tyler said, it's just so weird because we all can literally, again, here we are all listen to these songs and we're talking about them. And And so I've always seen the merry-go-round by Musgraves as kind of a punk rock country song to me, because I've always seen it as almost like a Green Day-esque, it kind of sticks at this fucking small town life that is so everyone assumes that small town life is perfect, right? You always see it in the movies and the picket fence, and she's to me, she's telling this story about the bad side of that,
Interesting.
So that's how I've always kind of seen it. But that could come from a person who I didn't get into punk rock until after I even knew Casey Musgraves. So it could have been coming from a person who wasn't a punk as a kid. Maybe that's at first I was oh, this is kind of edgier for a country song, because I feel for a country song it's a little edgy in a way.
I get that, and it does slap. It's catchy.
But again, everyone, it is what it is. That's okay. I mean, you're not gonna again. You sent me 3, so we'll. Do you think that's good on that? So Tyler, do you want to give your take on that?
Exactly. No, my take on the.
Or do you want to move on?
I always feel I I expressed how I felt about that song. I really liked it. I thought that it was catchy as hell. I loved how she played. I loved her voice.
Do you want me to do what I do?
Because we technically did one of mine, one of Scott's, and we should do one of yours. So I'll do one of yours.
Okay, go ahead.
One of my favorite one you sent me was the Frank Turner one.
Nice.
Which was fantastic.
Have you heard him before or no?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. And I really liked that song, the whole vibe that he took that time to thank the audience. It really just felt like he appreciated every single fucking person there.
You should check out more Frank Turner because you'll really like him. I
put him in my Pandora. I was listening.
What is the name of the song?
I was driving.
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
Ugh, I can't say it.
Yeah,
right now, but
photosynthesis.
one thing
God
that-
damn it.
Photosynthesis.
Yes, there we go. And Tyler, when you say that, by the way, as far as him appreciating things, this
Yeah.
is something you'll like about him. Then is when he does concerts, he's literally counted them all. So like when you see him at concerts, he'll be like, "This is concert number 1,552 or something," and it means I don't know. He just does it, but he does it in a way where he's
that
like
matters.
saying,
Honestly,
he treats them each as he treats each show. He tries to anyway as an individual thing. I'm bringing this art this night. This is special. This is unique. It's not any other night. So so that's something
and
about
I just
him.
felt like he knew how to command a crowd. It felt very personal, and even though it's thousands of people at a fucking stadium,
right.
He was talking to every single one of those people.
Yeah, and it's a good example of what that was one of the main things I was referring to. There was a couple of others too, but when I was saying, I kind of made me get into your headspace of appreciating looking up live performances and stuff. He stops the song in the middle. He gives this pretty moving speech about just thanking everybody for being there, thanking his crew for setting up, like really taking the time to kind of.
It seems a little more real, doesn't it? Than
and it puts everybody in this space where it's like we're all in this together.
Yeah,
which was really cool. And then he goes back and he finishes up the song with everybody
them too.
And it was awesome. Like,
you know what's funny about music too that I'm always really interested in, for example, and you guys can feel free to tell us about either the artists that you sent me if you have those kind of feelings. But like, for example, Frank Turner. I mean, God, dude, I found him. And this is where people, when they say some people talk about like comedy. We've done comedy before in bands. And they say a lot of times the big key is like, you should, even if you're doing comedy in front of 5 people, you have to try to treat it like it's a real show. You should always, bands or music, you should always treat it like it's a real show and not just a step away because you never know. And like, so Frank Turner, I mean, I found him, I don't exactly remember how many years ago it was, but he was just opening up for, I was going to go see Rancid. And I don't know if you're familiar with Rancid, but they're like a punk rock band. Yeah. And he was just opening up for them. And literally, I just liked him so much that night that I bought an album. And I've kept in touch with his career ever since then. And I'd never heard of him before. But it was just like me and my friend both that night were like, dude, that guy was awesome. Yep. It was just because he freaking just went out there and just laid it all on the line for, opening at just some place in some little shithole in Detroit, that probably a lot of people didn't know who he was.
Got 2 new fans.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
So that's cool, man. I'm glad you did that.
I appreciate it. I really liked it. I thought that was my favorite one you sent me.
Can I now then move on to my favorite? We talked about a Scott song, but I never told him what my favorite one that he sent me was. Do you want to guess, or do you want me to just tell you?
If I had to guess, I would guess maybe The River of the Woods, but I don't really know.
Ironically, by the way, and not that it matters, but that was actually my least favorite.
Okay. Yeah.
My favorite was the Kanye West song.
Kanye West one.
Kanye West, really?
That's what I was thinking.
I never heard, as we discussed at one time, I'd never really heard Kanye West before. And I forgot after the episode we talked about it to go look him up. And now I will, because I really, really like
that. That was my favorite one you sent to. Honestly. That's how I'm fucking bummed, dude.
Yeah, it was Feedback by Kanye West.
Okay. Yes, that's good to say.
And it's funny, like, I'm curious to hear more of your perspective about it, but like, I sent you that one in particular because I knew based on one of our other episodes that you weren't really familiar with Kanye West.
Right.
And I was like, I know you like a lot of those when we talk about like Green Day, Blink-182, like that sort of aesthetic you grew up with that you like a lot and stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, it comes from a different place, but in my opinion, Kanye West has that same fun, like freewheeling sort of vibe to him.
Yeah.
Where
I have a question. Oh, sorry.
No, what was the question?
I have a question. I don't want to turn this political for the most part, but I am curious because I know you're such a big Kanye West fan. Do you have any thoughts on like his kind of eventually getting? I guess he was a Trump supporter. I don't. Or do you believe that? Do you believe he was doing it for show? Do you have any thought on what?
As Kanye's publicist,
I'm sure that you do. I'm sure that you do have some thoughts on it. But if you could like mildly, do you think that was true?
Yeah.
That was being genuine? He doesn't seem like a fake dude.
What I would say to me personally, the thing that I love about Kanye West that I would give him credit for no matter what, like in every context, is the dude just feels things, and he is a very intuitive person. He is not at all like
Thinking?
But he taps into this vein by doing that. Like, I feel like that song is a good example of that sort of a thing where, like, even with his raps, you're like, he's on a technical level, he is a terrible rap writer.
Gotcha.
And yet there is something about his raps that are so uniquely him and so fun because of it. And I feel like his politics are sort of the same way, where I'm like, the dude, if you had a political conversation with him, I think he would be all over the place and have all sorts of weird opinions that would not really, they would all just be like, okay, well, that's a very strange way of thinking about it.
Right,
like,
right.
And
well,
so when
go ahead.
No, just so when I heard that, you know me, like I did not like Trump, but I also I don't like any of our presidents. So like, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
So, to me, I don't really see it as that much different than all of these other artists who all became Biden supporters and Democrats, except for there is something a little bit more innocent about it when it comes to him, because he is such a intuitive kind of goofball.
And the other funny thing is that you said there, and I this is another note I had, because again, Tyler sent songs that just he loved, and then you sent some of these songs, and one I found like, man, I think I might have sent the most trite songs, because Tyler's were very powerful, like a piano, a piano solo song, and a song from what was it, Nina Simone. Yeah, who was, which we can get into, which is a very powerful song. And I mean, so mine, and so then I bring that up because you mentioned that he's not like lyrically or something, he's not the best rapper, you said, right? Is that, or technically, or is that how you worded it?
Yeah, like I would say so many of his raps, there's a lot of people, classic Eminem would be a good example of it, where you could write his raps out on paper and there's all of these connections between words. It is like high level math almost, just the ability to connect these things together. He will like, I don't know, like that line he keeps saying it. That's like, hey, you heard about the good news? Y'all sleeping on me, huh? Had a good snooze. Right. Like, it is so childish on one level, but it also is like so fun.
Because what's interesting about that is like, I'm really nerdy about lyrics, but I think in the end, like a lot of my life, and you guys know this about me, like I'm a weird person where I think I'm deep, but on the same hand, I'm very at the surface a lot of time. I think I'm very simple. Like I think of things. I try to think like existentially about life and stuff, but also I'm very simple. So like what I literally wrote down, like in the he had a line like, name a genius that's not crazy. And I can't do it in the right way, here, but like when I was listening to it, I was like, that's fucking awesome. I like that line.
Yeah.
And so it's, you know what I mean? And I think with country music the same way, I think I really like it. I like songs and they make me feel very something anyway. But in the end, I don't know. Sometimes I think that I do like, what lyrics that could be considered rather simple in a way. Like, which is, go ahead. No, I'm just going to say it's just a weird thing. But I think that's like for example, for me, my music is just like my real life. Like I always explain to people, I just went on a trip, to California recently. And it's like, I literally get excited because I'm like, I'm going to go see new gas stations. And that's true. Like I get excited to see new gas stations.
We've discussed this on a previous podcast.
Okay, so it's like, who am I though to
truck stops and lot lizards?
Right. So who am I to sit there and go lyrically like, oh my God, this lyric? But I have lyrics where I'm like, this lyric is so awesome. But maybe it's probably simple to some people, maybe. But
and it's funny too, just the last thing about it. But like when we were talking about his kind of politics, and you were asking me too about, I thought of a really good way to say this, where like it's. When I talk about how all over the place his politics and his worldview is, you think about in this song alone, he says stuff about police brutality.
Right.
He attacks PETA.
Yeah.
He fucking is. What else does he do? There was something else too. The police brutality, the PETA. Oh, calls himself like Steve Jobs. Like those are three very different.
A mix between Steve Jobs and Steve Austin, right?
Exactly.
So it is like interesting
to put those into any sort of a box. I don't even know how you would do that.
Yeah,
he would probably from talking to you and what I've heard about you, and he like we said, he's also came up on previous episodes. He would probably be a very interesting person to sit down and see how that whole process works.
Yeah, for sure.
Guaranteed.
I'm trying to think. Should we go? So I've kind of, why don't we bring up that other one because I mentioned Tyler's song. This like it's what made me think honestly after I listened to this song by what was it? Let's see,
Nina Simone.
Nina Simone. Like I said, that was my thought to this. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my lord, these songs I sent were pretty trite compared to this stuff. That's
Yeah, that song
really-
is pretty powerful.
really
Yes,
powerful
powerful
about how did you ever find a song like this? Like what
Nina Simone she made so many good songs. She made that You Put a Spell on Me song.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Seriously?
she's a very famous.
She made
singer.
Okay.
Feeling Good. Like,
okay, see, but it's weird how life goes again with music. Music's such a
Yep.
weird thing because it keeps
and
growing
she
upon
was just
itself.
like an insane woman who was hardcore rebelling against, like, working for civil rights
Gotcha.
and like
civil
doing all
rights
this shit.
activist,
That
yeah.
song, Mississippi Goddamn, is about what is it? 4 black girls died on the what was it, 15th of I don't have the date, but 4
Yeah.
black girls died, and that song was about the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing.
Gotcha.
Which 4 little black girls died, and like the whole thing is about just how crazy life was back then. I mean,
Right,
it still
right.
is. It's
It-
very relevant to this day.
And to give some context to who she is, it's funny being a huge rap fan. I've never really gotten into her, but I could name off the top of my head 3 rappers that I like that have specifically mentioned her as an inspiration within
Interesting.
their
Really?
music. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about Kanye West. He's one, Killer Mike, and
Oh,
Brother Ali. I'll have, and not even just like interviews, like, I mean, songs where they
I
say
mean,
Wow.
she
something
was
about
an
Nina
insane
Simone.
activist. Her life is sad. There's a movie about it. I watched it. I
Really?
think it was on Netflix. Yeah,
Huh. I'll
like-
check it out. I'd like to check it out. I mean, it'd probably be sad, unfortunately. 'cause
it
you'll
is
see-
sad, but
you'll
like
see-
it is such a wild. Like, she was in an abusive relationship. That's what You Put a Spell on Me is about.
Wow.
Like, her
That's
being in an
crazy.
incredibly abusive relationship with a man who she couldn't get out of it with.
Yeah. And see,
like-
that's the thing about this stuff. Like to me, like music is so weird because music, like, always, it builds and builds and builds. Like people just keep making it, right? So it's like, and now,
Yeah.
back in the, in the 80s or 90s, say like, yeah, you'd find some new music. Maybe someone would be like, hey, this old person. But now it's like it's all there. And
yeah,
so
everything's
it's so
available.
I've never heard of her, but on the same end, those songs you just named a few songs that I have heard of, and it's
Yep.
so interesting that it's like now I can go back and listen to these people, but I
Yeah.
don't, it's hard because like I said again, it just keeps there's new music out every day, and there's still this stuff from 100 or that's not 100 years ago, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's
I mean, pretty much almost 100 years ago at this point.
well, and
Like
it's like
80 years ago.
it's so I'm not going to go into this singer too much, but when I say that, for example, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but but like one of my like country, and I say one of my favorites, it's such a cliche if you're a real country real country music fan to say you like Hank Williams Sr. That's
Yeah.
a cliche. These fucking bro pop kids, but in country songs all the time now, they'll just mention him as if you don't fucking know. But that dude wrote songs in the fucking 40s that I literally will still listen to today, and it's like
Yeah.
to me, and it doesn't sound. And I'm not saying
Or
they're, like,
somebody else has covered it. Because, like, even those songs I mentioned, most people, like, I thought for years that Mike Bublé made fucking Feeling Good. I was wrong. I was very ignorant to that fact. And it was a black woman who killed it. And,
Yeah.
like, was freaking.
Was that your introduction to Nina Simone?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. Because I heard that song and I'm like, I want to know where this came from. 'Cause,
Well,
like,
yeah, it's funny how that
whatever. And because it said he didn't make it.
absolutely that does happen.
Yeah.
Respect
Which is like
by
a
Aretha.
problematic thing that I found.
R-
I mean,
r-
it's cool
well-
that I found out, but like, why did I think that a white man made that fucking song?
Yeah, I guess in that instance, it might have been a weird thing to think. But I mean, you could think that he was just a super progressive person who was trying to tell the story. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, by the way, him covering it was a way of getting it out to people. I would imagine it. I don't know the guy, but I would just feel like that powerful of a song. He must have done it to get it out to people that had not heard it. Probably, I would.
I mean,
feel
no
like.
matter what
Maybe.
his intentions, I mean, it got you
Right.
To find out who
Nina
she
Simone.
was.
So yeah, I mean, like
Lead back to that for sure.
I think
especially
Which, by
for
the
me.
way, that's something that came up in the episode we did about music snobbery, for example, and that's why I always get on some people that again, things happen how they happen. I understand that there can be asshole artists; they can be using people, so you gotta understand there's going to be always jerks and people that are using stuff. but like,
Yep.
you know, selling out. And like my favorite singer, as anyone knows, and we've talked it on this episode, of Music Snobbery, and I've told the story then, but like my favorite singer, Pat Green, you know, some guy in Texas who never gets any Northern airplay. No one knows who he was. He wrote one song that made it to the National. And and then he's became my favorite singer who I've now traveled all over the country to see. So it's just, it's always an interesting story with how music can come into your life and what it can do. And so
really
to be judgmental about that sometimes is very short-sighted.
I used to like listen to that song a lot, that Mississippi Goddamn. One, because like I said, it's a bopper. It's freaking, it's got its own little style to it. And it just makes, I don't know, it's just such a thought-provoking thing a lot of it.
It is interesting. You're right.
Very powerful.
It's like, a very powerful song with a very deep message.
A deep vibe from this person.
But it's funny because it is, it does pop though, like in a sense. Like it's almost a catchy song, even though it's about a
dogs on my tail.
Right. It's kind of catchy. So it's kind of funny. Scott, we referenced. I'm going to move on to Scott, and he mentioned that one of his songs. I unfortunately I feel like I know it. He had I thought his least favorite was the merry-go-round. Technically, if he had to say, it was.
That's your least favorite. Okay.
So we added there's two others I sent him. He said one of them he really liked. I have a feeling I know what it is, but I have such a hope that it's the other one.
Which one do you think it is?
It's gonna be Little Boxes because no way.
No,
really?
No.
So you want to say the song and
Dwello Motel by Roger Allen Wade.
That is interesting, and that makes me very, very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's my thing. It's funny, like, you know, I've been thinking about a lot of kind of broader concepts with music for this episode, and one of the things I was thinking about is, like, I don't know why you guys listen to music if you were to really try to articulate it, but I think if I were to articulate it, at least for myself, there's two reasons. One is that it hits something very deep in my soul in a way that other art cannot. You feel music in
absolutely agreed on my end.
Not a movie, TV show, a book, anything like that.
Nothing, dude. None of that shit does it to me. So I think Tyler's probably the same. I would imagine.
I think it all does it in different ways, but music's the most potent. It's the most. And the second reason is almost for the same reason that, like, at least to me, like maybe the same reason I wear the clothes that I wear or something, where you're trying to present an image of yourself that you want other people to see or that you yourself want to be. I feel like those are probably two of the big primary reasons that people listen to music. I don't know if you guys would.
The first one for sure.
I'd agree.
I'm good. I'm iffy on the second one. I'm sure it's true. You know what my thought would be? I bet it is true. On a subcon, we all like to do that. So I'm going to say that, yes, I probably do that. I think the first reason you gave for me is like 90% of that. For some reason, for me, music is something that has I would say it's
love felt, and it's just something that you really can't substitute for something else.
But I would also say it does become part of, at least to me, and I feel like this would be a pretty broad thing in general, that if people were being honest, a lot of people would say, is that, like, it also, there's a reason if you're having a party or trying to create a certain ambiance situation, you play certain music because you're trying to inspire a certain mentality.
That is a good point.
And it's like, you know, you think about how people will just drive with the window blasting out.
Right.
Or with the music blasting out of the window. What are they doing that for? They're doing that because they're being like, this music is me, and I'm trying to show other people me.
I will tell you this. I think that when I was younger, the reason you just described is why I drive with the music down blared was a much higher percentage. Absolutely. It is still there. I think that you're right. That if I'm driving blaring Jimmy Buffett or something, I want people on some level, to hear what I'm hearing and know that's a guy who likes that kind of stuff. I do think as I've gotten older, I'd like to think I've aged, matured a little bit in a sense that, like, I think that when I blare music, I just like the feel. Music just, on my end, just gives me such a feeling. I can't listen to it quiet. I mean, I can, but I don't like to. And so on my end, sometimes when I'm blaring it in the car, it's just because it fucking just gives me a feeling that nothing else does in my life anyway.
I got you.
Yeah.
But I do think you are still right though about blaring music and why you blare, especially when you're younger.
Your identity. Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess I'm saying all of that to kind of make a comparison with this song, where I go from the identity perspective. Problem is, it is an old guy with a Southern accent.
Right.
That's not me. If I didn't know somebody and that came on when I was in the car, I'd feel a little bit awkward about it.
Oh, I know you would.
That might that's probably me, my own hangups, whatever.
Yeah.
On that soul level, dude, everything about that song I fucking loved.
Yeah.
I love.
Oh, go ahead. I'd rather hear. I want to hear your opinion.
Every single one of the lyrics like hits and is perfectly like tightly written in like a way that is both meaningful and like kind of fun.
Yeah.
It has. I love that you sent me the live video. I was totally vibing with his like intense eyes and kind of crazy.
You would like this guy, more of this guy's stuff, because that's kind of how he is. To me, by the way, I gotta say, it makes me. It's weirdly makes me incredibly happy that's. I swear it was going to be little boxes. I sent that to you, really thinking that if you gave it a chance, you might like it, but very much also thinking you might. Not that you wouldn't give it a fair chance, but it was going to be hit or miss. You were either going to like it or hate it.
Outside of that second category that I said but you felt that it would fit into that first category.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be hit or miss. I thought you were either going to honestly like it or you were going to fucking just kind of hate it. And so like,
it grew on me too throughout the week, honestly.
Really
like
interesting.
I listened to it the first time and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not a big fan of country, but I like kind of sad, like kind of melancholy, music, and like there's a couple of good lines in here. And throughout the week, I was like, nah, I fucking love this song. This song's really good.
I will tell you my favorite line. Tyler, you listened to this song, right? Or no?
Yeah, I listened.
Did you like it at all or no? And it's okay if you didn't.
You're talking about the
old dude singing the
old dude
sad song.
No, I liked that one. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I just
go ahead.
Yeah, I like the lyrics a lot. I felt like he was really telling a true thing to himself.
Well, here's the thing. So my favorite line for one of the song that I always
just a good storyteller with music,
right? And that's what this guy is. This guy is, interesting enough, by the way, he's actually Johnny Knoxville's cousin.
What? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so again, think about how you find things. You think about how you find things. He's actually in the last 6 months became one of my, like, he's not up there with Pat Green, but he's moving up on my very high list of music. Like, I've started getting really addicted to watching more and more of his other songs.
Yep.
But how I found him was just Jackass movie. He did this song called "If You're Gonna Be Dumb, You Gotta Be Tough," and it made it to the Jackass DD because he's Johnny Knoxville's cousin and he's a songwriter, so Johnny Knoxville probably threw him a little bit of a bone. And from that, though, I found these other things, and it just shows you again, you never know how you're gonna find stuff. But he has a lyric in that song about he's talking about in this song. He's talking about staying. Essentially, he's just probably a drunk or something, staying at this kind of shitty hotel, and he's talking about the prostitute. And he says about his neighbor who's a stripper. And he talks about singing. She. And what is it? The line. The line is she's what is it? About taking taking the money. And half of mine too, just trying to get high enough to get naked for you.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's such a dark lyric, but it's also like, I like that stuff. I was explaining this to someone recently when we were going to get ready to do this week. I was listening to some of this stuff and I was going to send you guys. And I said, like, you could argue, I think I could argue I'm one of the happier people I know in my life. I think I'm very, very happy for the most part. We all have sad moments. We all have bad moments, but I am very happy in my life. I'm very satisfied with what I've done. But I love sad country songs like this. And the person said to me, probably because I'm so happy, maybe these sad songs take me to a place that I'm not as comfortable or not as familiar with. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but
I would say I love listening to sad music when I'm even in a bad mood, because I feel like it allows me to like feel that feeling without it being like oppressive to me. I'm not yelling at myself. I'm just feeling this music and going, this guy gets it, or this person gets it.
Yeah. And there is a weird thing too. I feel like with music holds this weird sort of space too, where it is, I would say most of the songs I would also describe as the most beautiful songs to me are also some of the saddest.
Yeah. Right.
And there is a weird juxtaposition with that.
Well, it's like one of my other favorite singers is a country guy named Alan Jackson. He's another songwriter. I like people that write their own songs. Like, so this Roger Allen Wade that I sent you, for example, he's a songwriter. He writes his shit from, his life or at least how he, stories he perceives from life, but whatever. And so he talked about that, writing songs, and he's like, I don't necessarily, and Alan Jackson does a really good job. He writes a lot of sad kind of country songs, but he has happy ones too. And he kind of just says, like, truthfully, I'm probably a little lazy because sad songs are just kind of easier to write in some level, and they just connect with people more. It's not that people don't want to be happy, but I think in our life, we all know how to be happy. Like, if you have a happy moment, I think you don't need help with it. But for something about sad songs, like breakup songs or life failing songs, I think sad songs for some reason are more needed than a happy song is when you're happy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, you don't need a happy song to boost your happy.
Right.
But like a sad song can help you get through that time.
Yeah. Something about that for some reason.
I can say that I feel like happy songs when you're in a good mood, intensify it.
Yeah. Oh, no, they do.
Your experience, but it's not needed. You're right.
But like, you're happy already. Like, you're on a trip with your buddies. You don't necessarily. You could, like, if we got on a road trip.
I don't know that a trip with your buddies, like, going a long way without music.
No, but I'm saying in a moment with your buddies in the car, you could be like, oh, we're gonna drive up to the bowling alley, say, and you're just already jacked anyway, and you're like, oh, we're gonna do this or whatever.
Yeah, I guess
you wouldn't necessarily need that happy song to boost it, but a sad song if you're by yourself in a mode.
Driving home.
I would say too, if I'm really sad, I can't listen to a happy song.
No.
If I am really happy, I can listen to a sad
song. Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yes. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, for real.
And by the way, speaking of, like, I don't know if it's sad or not, but to get to one of Scott's songs, also another one of Scott's songs. I will say, Scott, even though I said that Kanye was my favorite, Independence Day by Elliott Smith was honestly rather close. It was pretty close to second. I really dug that. I dug it for the same reason I dug the Leon Bridges song that Tyler sent me. I just same thing. I thought I wrote down liked it a lot. I thought the voice and just the calm melody of the song, I just really enjoyed it a lot. Same thing with the voice. I dig a good voice. I don't have one. So I appreciate others that do, but
and that's funny too, because like Elliott Smith and Leon Bridges, I would say they're both like great singers in my opinion, but they exist on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Where Leon Bridges is very powerful and he feels like a very classically trained singer in a lot of ways, and Elliott Smith, his voice is almost so weak sometimes that it almost blends into the music, but it's very like raw.
Right. And that's almost, I think, what I meant when I meant like a calm melody. It was almost like the music was playing and his voice was there.
Yeah, a lot. I always feel like his music that I listen to, including that song, which is what is it called? Independence Day.
Yeah.
His stuff always sounds like a sad dream.
Yeah.
Like he's in like a weird sad dream. Like pretty, but like this is a little off. Like,
from listening to that one song, I could see it.
It just feels flowy, but it also feels like sad. It feels like he's bleeding into the music sadness.
Yeah,
and it's his shit's not always like super depressive. Like he's got some upbeat stuff, and like even how he sings can be construed as like gentle or nice, but it's like. There's a lot of sadness.
The
here.
Sadness is still present.
it's very present. So sad dream.
Yeah,
I really liked it. And by the way, with the songs that you guys sent me, I really tried to dig in, and I don't have them here by any means, but I actually listened to them first. So Scott asked me what the process was. I did it differently for this than I normally would in real life. Yeah. I listened to them first. Then I kind of read the lyrics, and I tried to, really dig into them as much as I could anyway. I didn't look up what they meant per se, but I just, read the lyrics even, then listened to them again and stuff. And I really, honestly, so it's weird. The only one I said technically out of all of the songs, for whatever reason, my least favorite is that the rapper, the other, what was it? Astronaut Trails, the river.
Astronautilus, the River of the Woods.
Astronautilus, and I don't know what it was. I didn't. You know what it was? This is so dumb. I feel like I'm gonna sound like a moron. I was kind of confused. I just didn't really get the
That
meaning
sounds
per se.
disjointed as hell. I kind of agree that like it is harder because it feels disjointed.
It feels Is it the mixture of kind of rap and rock?
No, because I like that. I actually liked the flow and the beat of the song.
I disagree with that. I don't. I feel like it doesn't bleed together well. I feel like
the rap and the rock together.
Off. Like, yes, essentially.
Now, are you saying that you don't like that in general, or you just didn't like it in this song?
I'm saying the tempo of the song was a little bit off.
Now, it's weird because I actually wrote down that I liked the flow and the beat of the song, and then I said, I feel dumb about this, but I'm not sure I totally get the message, and that's what I wrote down for the song, and which is the only reason it quote unquote fell under, because you got to remember something has to be last. It's no offense to anybody, but something has to technically be. And the only reason it was last over the piano song by Tyler, for example, was like, I was like, oh, this is I've never listened to just a piano song before in my life. Never. In movies, apparently I have. I am going to, based on Tyler said it's in the Simpsons episode, so I actually am going to, after this, YouTube that song with Simpsons to see where they were. Yep. So it was kind of interesting. I'd never done that before, so I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it gave you more.
I would say it's funny to me. Like, I sent it to you because I thought like the general tone of the song. I know that you kind of like stuff that exists in that space between rap and rock.
I do,
and that is one of the reasons I sent it to you. Lyrically, I get it's funny. I would say lyrically, it's very meaningful to me because of a lot of my kind of esoteric beliefs in stuff like that.
What is esoteric?
Like beliefs in the occult, magic, stuff like that.
Okay.
All of that sort of stuff. Because like to me, it's kind of blending a lot of those ideas together into also, I guess, it's funny. I wouldn't have said that the message is complicated at all, but now that I'm trying to explain it, it kind of is.
Well, but what's funny is, like, if I had not looked at the lyrics, like if I had just played it, I probably would have said I liked it because I actually liked listening to it. Yeah, it was just when I was reading but this video you sent had the lyrics in the thing. And so I couldn't help but read them every time I listened to it.
And the lyrics were confusing to you?
They were. I just didn't. I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't fully get the message for whatever reason. And it doesn't mean that they're bad at it just means I, in one instance, one idiot in Michigan, didn't quite understand it. But that doesn't mean anything. I'm not hating. Like I said, I liked the sound of it.
And I don't doubt that there's more depth to it if it is about that.
Well, and I would just say, if you take the first line like that, to me at least, I relate to it in a lot of ways, where it says wherever we go we'll never be lost. Some people follow the compass and some follow the cross. Me, I follow roads compulsively till sirens call me off. Like, I don't know.
You know what's funny? Now that you're reading it to me again, sometimes it takes a while. Like, I liked that. I kind of dug that when you were reading it to me right there. So sometimes it just takes because as you were reading it there, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And
I feel like that song, the lyrics were the best part of that.
Well, yeah, and I was just gonna say too, to me, just as an example, just as one little thing, when I hear that, I go I don't really believe in science, I don't really believe in religion, but what I do is I get obsessed with something and I just follow that trail until I don't follow it anymore.
Yeah. Right.
And that would be just as one example.
Right. Which is weird because I don't think you definitely do that. It's not something I do, even though I get obsessed about different things. I don't get obsessed about the same type of topics that send me down these I get a little lazy in the end. I do like my fucking TV and shit, but
sure.
So you get a little more. You're very good at that, and so maybe that's why it hits. Maybe that's why it means a lot more.
Yeah, and it is funny that both of you guys were kind of he was like, I liked the lyrics, I didn't care. I thought the melody was disjointed, and you were like, I liked the melody, I didn't.
I'm convinced if I just listened to that song and wasn't trying to deep dive, if you were just in the car and you were like, hey, listen to this song, I probably would have been because I would have probably been I dug it. Because I remember at first I didn't listen to the lyrics. I just put it to my ear kind of laying down on the ground. I was like, yeah, it seems pretty good. And I started reading, and it's just like I said, dude, who am I? I'm not. To me, the idea of me, if there's somehow the people in that, I don't know if you call it a band or whatever they are, if they were listening to this at some point, don't worry, I'm a fucking idiot. You don't have to worry about that. I didn't get it. So, So who am I to not understand?
Well, hey, since we've kind of danced around Claire de Lune, Are we good if that's the next one we talk about?
Sure.
Is that fine? Well, I just had something I wanted to say about
Absolutely.
it. That, like, I feel like because we hadn't fully jumped into it.
And then we can do the last
And
one, I believe, right?
I think
Well, then
so.
I'm gonna have like
that
you.
is the last one.
Well, no, because Tyler, I want to hear your other favorite, your other song. You don't have to do all three, but I want to hear your other song that you liked, that I sent you. But then let's do this one first.
I did too.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I did the.
Oh, we did not talk
Funk.
about Poetry by Pat Green or the Taylor Swift one. He's actually right.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
So no, I was just gonna say, you've always been a huge fan of Claire de Lune and a huge fan of kind of orchestral melodies in general.
You're talking
And
Tyler, right?
There was
Yeah.
and there was Tyler, yes. And there was a thing that I read a while ago that I tried to carry in my mind when I was listening to that Claire de Lune by Beethoven. That
It's not by Beethoven, Claude Debussy.
Claude Debussy. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It said Beethoven on the Spotify thing.
Maybe Beethoven covered it, but it's Claude Debussy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
Claude Debussy made Claire de Lune. Just so you know.
well,
Good to be
okay.
known.
Well, this was a thing I had read about Beethoven, but I feel like it would still apply in this context where, like, okay, like kind of with some of, like, in a lot of Western esotericism, there's this idea that you're trying to reach this thing, this whatever you want to call it, this divinity, this divine light or whatever that is unnameable, that cannot be captured with words or through senses at all. And like that's one of the reasons that you meditate. It's people talk about raising their kundalini. I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like that or whatever.
I'm not, but I'm
chakras. Any of that stuff is to kind of get to that state. The moment, like in sex, the moment when you have an orgasm would be
Gotcha.
like a mild version of that.
Gotcha.
And I had read something about Beethoven in specific that I feel like does absolutely also apply to Claire de Lune, where they were saying like he is so enduring and he has lasted for so long because he found that state at some point and was trying to capture what that state sounds like. And you can't capture what it sounds like, but you can create a reflection of it through sound.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of listening to it with that mentality.
Yeah. And Claude Debussy too, like when he made that song, all that whole series of songs that he made, I can't remember the other ones in it, but that is one of other songs that he made in like essentially a CD or like an album or whatever the hell they called it back then. But it's supposed to symbolize like the calming of a storm, and I always feel like it really does feel that way. That it's just like
okay. And see, by the way, with this song, I would say I'll probably listen to it after we're done with this because I had no context going into it. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just so out of my normal, which is great. Again, I like finding new stuff, whether I like it or dislike it. I'd still like to hear new stuff and hear. So I'll probably listen to it again after hearing even.
But it
some
does
of this
really
stuff.
feel like it encapsulates a thing, like you were saying. Like you found it. You found the sound of a storm and created the calm part.
Yeah.
Like through music somehow.
Or found the sound of after the storm when everything is just very still.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, when you talk about some of this stuff, you know, again, I can't name what I've listened to, but when I was younger, for example, the idea of me liking like anything would be considered classical music, for example, I no interest whatsoever. But as I've aged, I find, like, again, I don't necessarily listen to it that often, but I really, if I do be in a situation where I hear it, it calms me very, like, I've found recently that really, like in movies, I love when independent films or movies will have like classical music in it, like to set up things and stuff versus like old, like more popular, newer music. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but
like older stuff when they,
when you're talking about some of this stuff, as I've gotten older, I've found more appreciation for some of that stuff for sure than when I was younger.
Yeah.
Especially classical music. Classical music to me, like, if anything, it sets a vibe. It really sets a calm, just, or chaotic, or just whatever it's trying to do. It does the thing.
For sure. So I guess we're now. I wanted to hear. I wanted you to say. You know, we can only go through. We'll only go through one of the songs. I gave you 3. We've gone through most of all our songs.
I want to go through.
Yeah, let's just finish it.
Okay, then we got 2 more. Let's just do it. We got 2 more. You can. Unfortunately, it's
the Pat Green and then Taylor
well, here
Swift.
let me.
Which you're lucky that didn't send you both Pat Green songs.
Out of the way. We can get little boxes out of the way right now.
Oh, we haven't done little boxes either. I'm sorry.
Just I was familiar with the song because I watched Weeds. It's a great theme song for Weeds. I believe Regina Spektor covered it on the Weeds version because this was a different version. What you said.
I sent you the real version, the original.
And I think the one thing, it's funny, like I was so familiar with the song that I felt like I had less to say. But the one thing that really did, I really enjoyed about it that I thought was cool is like, we talk about how kind of, as you get older, it's harder and harder to tap into that artistic, creative vein, I think.
Right.
And this lady was, probably in her 60s or 70s or whatever. And
right.
It made that song and wrote like it was very
young and angsty.
It is capturing the thing it wants to capture, like exactly in a way that is very sharp.
And see, the funny thing is, in my mind, the odd thing is that this song went very well to me with the Casey Musgrave song. Even like in my mind, it was kind of that same thing. Of like, I think that as
one is in a rural small city and the other one's in a
suburbia, for sure. But to me,
idea,
the general idea, and I think the reason, if you want to know, like for example, me sending those to you, I know that you tend to be a little more fighting against the grain, a little more, not wanting to go the norm. It's how I am too, for the most part. And I know as a kid, like growing up, eventually more and more, I really just had a disdain for the notion that suburbia was this perfect thing. You know what I mean? And like these people that they don't question anything. And, the Little Boxes song, the whole idea of just like, they just do what you do. You go down the line, you go to college, you get this job, you get a house on the fucking thing. It's like, fuck that for me personally. And so that's why I like the song so much. But
absolutely.
But they are both people being trapped in different ways where it is, the Casey Musgrave song Merry Go Round was about, at least in the way I experienced it, about rural people being trapped by this culture that's kind of like crabs in a bucket,
exactly
pulling you down.
Which is
sorry. No. And Little Boxes is a little bit more about being trapped by this veneer of happiness in these possessions.
Absolutely
grounded to an area.
And I've had this talk with you guys before at one point, like long ago. Like we used to talk about this one time. And it's not, I'm not going to do this poor me, or not even poor me, but like, poor middle class people and stuff. But I don't know if you remember us having this talk before, but like I said one time to you guys, it's like, I think the thing is, and it's not, woe is me, but I think sometimes, again, grass is always greener. If people grow up in a much more, maybe a bad area where there's like, there's maybe you don't really have a grocery store, in an urban-ish area, and you look at people in a neighborhood and you think like, oh, they've got it made because they grow up with houses. And I used to say like, but the weird oddness of it is like, if you're in these other areas, there's almost no expectations on your life. Like you can do whatever you want. No one almost really cares, which is bad. But then you can be in the other end of the spectrum where they care so much, and everybody, are you going to college? What are you going to do? Do you know what you're going to do? You better do this. You better do the safe thing. There's like, the expectations can also, come in on you by having expectations in a weird way. And which is what I've always felt about suburbia, as it were.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally the case.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's just kind of one of those things in life, I guess, that we all sometimes need to more, just realize, I guess, that, it's nothing is perfect. And every side, if you look at other things, is going to look better if you're just kind of sitting there. Like, it's always going to be like, well, they've got it made.
And all of these things are traps in a different way.
Yeah, right, exactly. If for sure, if you allow them to be. Did you want to get, what was your, like, the next two? So I sent two more to Tyler.
So, yeah.
Did you want to get to your, like, you can just go into your thoughts.
Let's just do Taylor Swift one. Let's just get it out of the way.
The Taylor Swift one we should end on. Right?
You want to end on? Okay.
We don't have to. We can do Taylor Swift. You sent me this fucking Taylor Swift song.
Have you ever listened to a lot of Taylor Swift?
I've seen literally, yes. And I've seen this video that you sent me.
Oh,
before.
No, my bad.
I have seen it. It doesn't matter.
The Man by Taylor
The only thing it's The Man by
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. I don't like Taylor Swift, man. I think
weird.
She's a talk singer. She doesn't have skills other than like she can play some fucking instruments. I've always kind of felt like she's arrogant and full of herself. I just don't have the, and I know she's written a lot of her songs, which respect there. I'll give her that. But she talks, and I hate people doing that.
Okay.
I can't stand. And this song specifically, I don't even know how to touch on this as a white man.
Can I touch on it? I think I've got a good. I think I've
Go
got
ahead.
a good way of phrasing this. Okay. I also like I said, like I did not care for. I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. I don't mind her. I think some of her songs are okay. This song in particular, it is complicated because we are three guys, and I do think there's struggles with being a woman that is different than being a man or whatever. But
right.
I'm sorry, pretty rich blonde Taylor Swift. You want to trade lives? Because I'll do it.
You got to understand though, she's writing this from in her mind. She's at this point got to a point in her career where she could write a song for other people. I don't think she's writing this for her. She's writing this. I mean, it sounds like she is, but
it is for her. She's done a music video with it.
Yes, I get it, but I mean, in my opinion, she reached a point of popularity that I feel like she felt she could write a song for other people to shine a light on a thing that happens in music and business. That's my take on it.
I would say I get that, and I think if you were to talk to most women in some way or another, they would relate to some of the stuff.
Yeah, the disrespect that they're getting on a regular basis, and I'm not trying to trivialize that. That sucks, but
this is very interesting.
She's so privileged and so.
But again, you're assuming that she's writing this song saying, hey, poor me. And I think she's writing this song for, hey, I've gotten there, but these are, I'm lucky. These are these other, I'm trying to write this.
Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. I am a poor working class person.
Right.
She is writing that song, even if you want to give her the credit for that. She is writing that for the professional middle class.
Okay.
And so even in that context, that's why it's a man in a boardroom. That's why so many of the lyrics are centered around that sort of thing. It's like, you know what? I'm sorry. If there's a upper middle class woman who thinks she has it harder than me, we can trade right now.
in
1 second.
That's interesting,
I will
man.
gladly do it.
You know what's funny? I will tell you this. So I know someone, a very, very good friend who's a lawyer, and she's a female, and she loves this song because she kind of goes through this a lot in her life.
Sure.
The interesting thing is, and again, this is life. I fucking love life so much because of things like this. Out of all, you have expectations. We always do things in life where you do this and you think things are going to play out a certain way, and it is so funny in life how they go so different sometimes. I thought this was going to be, when I picked this song, I thought this was going to be like, Tyler's going to be like,
favorite.
Fuck yeah, good job, Eric. Women empowerment and shit. It
wasn't, that was like rich women empowerment. And I'm like, shut the fuck up about your fucking
That's so funny
class problems. Like, boo-hoo. I have to worry about my next paycheck. Get out of here with your if I had a dick, it'd be just a little bit better than right now.
Yeah, we'll trade genitalia and bank accounts.
Yeah,
that's so. Exactly. This is just so funny. I'm getting bombed on here, and I thought I thought I picked this real progressive song, Taylor Swift.
I liked your other ones. I like the what was it?
Mean.
What?
Oh, I don't know what songs. I know a lot of her songs.
Molly,
the one.
Why can't I think
the
of
guy
it?
at the concert? Pyro.
No, not that one. The girl.
Oh yeah. Merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round. I like that one a lot, and I like the other one too.
Yeah. I get it. It's no. Hey, like I said, that's why you do this shit.
But Taylor Swift, I've always thought. I just am like, you are popular because you're pretty.
Now, you know what's
that's it. And
I think it's arguable whether she's pretty or not.
There's more to it than that.
I don't respect her.
Yeah, I don't respect her, but she is popular.
Fuck both of you, for one, by the way. But you know what's interesting about this? You want to know something funny about this opinion you guys have of her? So for me, being a uber country dude, I take country. I always say, if there's music that I'm a hipster to, it's country. It's the music where I'll be like, that's not real country or whatever. And I don't do that with other stuff. But so I liked Taylor at the beginning. I went through years of disliking her, because I thought she had taken advantage of country music. She came out, started country, went pop. I thought she kind of just took. So I had some really feelings about Taylor Swift. Yeah, and then in the last few years, I've grown to very much like Taylor Swift, and I will go on kicks where I listen to her music for days in a row.
My thing is I love female singers. I think they have so much range, and they can really do shit that a guy cannot do.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that. she talks when she sings. She's just, and she sounds like an uptight white woman.
But see, again, now here's an
Just
interesting
being
thing.
Like, oh my God, my life is like so good all the time, and I love it. And it's just
Well,
like,
here's another
shut the fuck up.
Here's another interesting thing. Again, just people have their own perspectives in life. I like talk singing. So that's the funny thing. So maybe that's why I like
man.
her. So
I'm like, sing, use your fucking lungs, use your voice. I want to hear it.
I agree with
that's
Eric.
just what you like.
I'm open to all sorts of different. I mean, like rap is talk singing. All rap is talk.
Rap
singing.
is different though. You're on a flow. She's not on a flow. She's on a fucking. I'm just gonna talk about my day, and you're gonna listen, and I'm gonna.
But I would tell you that. I would probably suggest that most of my favorite country singers, I would argue, are more talk singers than singers.
No, because like country singers have a drawl to them. They have a fucking. It's an essence thing. Hers is like dumb little teenager. Like, and it bothers me to my core.
This is mind blowing. I really thought it's so funny. Like I said, I just saw this going so different, which is hilarious.
I will say in your defense, Tyler, you do. I would say most of the singers you like are probably women. Like you do. You like there's a lot.
And I don't think he's
love
bashing
them. If you're good, if you got Rangeman, holy shit. I mean, Nina Simone's on there.
Right.
On my list.
I was not saying you didn't like female singers. It was just funny.
I prefer them over men because I think they are
makes
better.
sense
I think
to me.
they have more range. I think they can do more.
And see,
I would argue that a lot of guys are talk singers. That's the thing. Which would make sense if you like women more.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, it's funny to me. I don't have any problem with Taylor Swift. I think that most of her songs are pretty catchy. I'm not a huge fan of pop in general, but I think she's fine.
Right.
I just don't like being talked down to by a rich white woman.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know what? I'm going to say at this point, we're going to just have to agree. We just obviously have different takes on what it means. I actually do get your perspective. When you say it about the bored woman stuff, I get it. I think it's just, again, you know what? Like I said, for me, knowing someone who's in a high up situation that makes a lot of money and is very well off.
That song is for her.
It's for her, but like she does deal with this very much so just guys that just do not respect her, do not treat her to say. Okay, I get it, but
I don't have empathy for somebody at that level of wealth.
I think that's a really bad thing to say. But
you can fucking like live on an island and never have to deal with another man if you don't want to.
See, I wouldn't even go that far. I think
it's a terrible statement, personally.
I am not a fan of her trying to tell me that like it'd be better if she was in my shoes. It's like, no, you'd be better if you were.
But that's not what she's saying, though. I mean, that's not really. I don't believe what she's saying. But
no, it isn't. But it's the. I mean, it's the conversation she's trying to have.
Well, the argument could be made. By the way, she can't. You know, it is just a song. She can only get it. So she has to go after a kind of a certain thing. I think the argument could be made that it could be really translated to any aspect of life. That as guys, even in anything that guys do, there really is always this little thing that for girls, it's always going to be tougher for some reason in how society tends to go.
Especially in the professional.
Yeah, and I'll give her that. Like
she's.
Yeah. It's just I don't care about your fucking first world.
I get it.
Well,
I get it.
And like, and this goes into this. Like, to me at least, I think a big problem with a lot of pop culture stuff that we are slowly getting better at is there is this hyper focus on like all of that stuff matters. Like, I believe like a woman in my financial situation has it harder than me in a lot of ways.
I'll give it that.
I agree with that. But the problem is we focus so much on these differences that like and class isn't mentioned, so it becomes this situation where it's like it's a song about how all women have it harder than all men, and like I'm like your life is much easier than mine, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I know.
Your lawyer friend's life is much easier than mine.
You know
understand.
What I mean? Like, I understand. I understand. I do get your guys' point. I don't agree, but I do get it. And I do, it makes me think about it differently, for sure. I do think about it a little differently.
It's just Taylor Swift. You can quote me on it. put me down.
It's weird because, again, like I said, I went in a graph with Taylor where so it's weird. Let's do the one last song here and then we'll get going here.
Last song is.
You guys are lucky,
Pat
as I
Green.
said, that you both didn't get a Pat Green song, but I did it. In the end,
I was
only-
expecting one.
I know.
I thought he was gonna get one.
I only could do 3, and I already had 3 for you that I thought were good enough.
Yeah.
So I picked one,
Okay,
Poetry, by
Poetry
my boy
by
Pat Green.
Yep.
What was
And
your thoughts on this song?
Okay, so I had mixed feelings about it. I liked the song. I liked the music. I liked his voice. I liked all of those things. I felt like it was coming from this weird America's Great perspective, and I kind of hate
Well,
it.
I mean, he's a Texan. How fuck you? But he's I really fucking hate that. But he's a Texan, and he's a simple. I will say, Pat Green's a simplistic artist. That's why he is not an artist I would ever tell somebody.
Like one thing I wrote down is like I loved like the fiddle like made that song for me.
Yeah.
Like that was very important to me. It made me enjoy it. I just feel like that simple expression of America's great, and if you whatever, there's like a loveliness to it, and it's like I don't entirely agree with that sentiment, and I feel like he also was incling God in there, and it's like okay.
Very specifically.
I had 2 songs I almost picked by him to send you because I thought both would be maybe received at least okay from a Pat Green perspective. Like I said, I will tell people he is in reality. I think Pat Green is probably not in the top. Man, maybe not in the top 100 of country singers, maybe even less than that. But for some reason, he connects to me. For whatever reason, that's how it goes. I do not believe that Pat Green is one of the best country singers of all time. Not even close, probably.
What is it about him that connects?
I have literally
no idea.
I don't even know how to. When I first got into him, there was he was just a little more edgier. He swore. I know that sounds dumb, but in country music, that's not normal.
No, when I was a teenager, dude, I swear to God, I got into Modest Mouse for the same reason. I was like, I like him in the first place, and they just dropped a fuck in the middle of this song.
Right. Yeah, there was, it's a weird thing. Me and my buddy, I have a really, really good friend that we've gone to see him. He's one we've traveled to see him with even. And we've had discussions on why we like Pat Green so much. And I don't fully. Art is one of those things sometimes that I can't explain. When you see him live, I love him. I listen to his music over and over and over again. I've heard every song a million times. I picked this song. I know that God had a thing in there. I knew that would be but I thought the song was beautiful enough. I think we have different perspectives on some of this stuff. And I thought I just really enjoy the lyrics of like more that this is a beautiful world. See, I didn't take it as an American thing for one, by the way. I took it more of the world is really beautiful and it's these things happen. And even if you don't believe in a God, I think that I don't believe in a organized religion anymore, but I still have like a belief in a creator on my end anyway. I just think that life is so perfect that I don't believe that it could have just happened. Just my end. But that was my take on the song. In the end, could I have picked another? Like I said, there was one other one I had going. I really went back and forth when I was going to send you. Yeah. So that's what I picked.
Like I said, I liked it for the most part. The lyrics were not my favorite. I felt like it was very, very, very generic. But I think that he creates some good music. And, and I wouldn't hate that. Like I just if it was less religious, I probably would have dug that song more.
I wonder if I might actually send you the other song just to see what you think of that one versus this one.
I'll check it out and just talk to you outside of the podcast.
Did you? Scott, I dare to ask. Did you have any takes on this song or?
I dare to ask. Okay.
It's all right if you hate it. I don't care if people hate it. Like that's all. That's all good. Well, I say here's Scott. Real quick. I say hate. When I say it's okay if you hate it, I only use hate in a sense of like hate is a strong feeling. Yeah. So my point is I throw that out there more as like, it's okay, man. If someone hated it, I would still love it. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. But I'd say that as an extreme. I don't believe you hate it, but I can see disliking it.
No. And I would say like, I only listened to it twice, I think, because it was one you sent to Tyler. So So it was one I would just kind of listen to familiarize myself with, and I did look at the lyrics, and like I did not necessarily pick up on America's Great vibes so much. I thought it was pretty apolitical.
He actually, by the way, I would say that honestly, he stays pretty. And now he's a Texan, so you know how Texans are. If anything, if you really listen to more Pat Green stuff, you would just find out that Texas is awesome. He doesn't really.
And I understand that it just felt that way. I'd say it's not like America's wonderful, but like just like there's.
I am telling you, I'm sure he believes. I'm sure that is what he believes, but he tends to be
the Christian creator guy.
Yeah, very much
sure.
so.
That was there, but I'm also like, it's funny. I have my own set of beliefs.
Maybe
and
I just
am the
read
most,
into a nationalist.
Yeah, maybe because those things do tend to be connected a lot of the time.
Yeah,
but
they do.
I am the most non-judgmental person on earth when it comes to anybody else's. None of us have any fucking idea why we're here.
Right.
None of us have any idea what any of this shit is. And I am honestly, if there's anybody that irritates me the most, it is smug materialist atheists. So like, I'm not even really like. I wasn't bothered by that.
Right,
I didn't connect with it, I would say.
Yeah, I get it.
I was bothered by it.
I can tell. I personally think you read into something a lot worse.
It takes me out of it. It's like, I wish he would have just gone down the angle
but he's not going to. He's a Christian dude. But he's a Christian. He's not going to do that.
Well,
I understand
I take issue with that. I feel like I don't relate. I feel like I view you. I'm not trying to say that you're stupid for believing in a higher power. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like Scott was saying, nobody knows what's going on. But asserting that is like, it's just this thing. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness.
Here's two things you did.
Angle.
I think you did two things with the Taylor Swift song, and I think you're doing with this. And I think you're like, he is writing art. Like, I think you're being a little unfair in a sense here. Like, I think that you're sitting here, like, you let other people that you agree with express their art.
Yeah,
he's an artist expressing.
I didn't tell him to
art.
shut up.
No, but you're saying he's making you. He's not making you feel anything. Like he's creating something
because of my own shit. But like that's
on you, not him.
Yeah, but I'm listening to it because I have to. So I just won't anymore.
I know.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like, it's not like I'm like,
true.
Stop it. I need to start a protest against Pat Green.
Right. That's true.
God talks. Like,
that's true.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Although, like I said, I would say it's funny because honestly, if you listen to him more than anything, you would get just like the Texas is awesome. He doesn't really talk about America for the most part, but he talks about Texas a lot.
Okay. I mean, that's his America. I feel like
and then if you're from Texas,
that's America,
right?
And that is just a bunch of liberal bullshit.
Oh yeah, they're their own country for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's fine. Again, we all have, that's what this was mainly supposed to be about. I'm actually glad in reality that you guys had some strong feelings of things I sent because it's something that as friends, even us, we know each other very well, but this isn't something we would have done on our own if we didn't do a show like this. So I still think I was interested to have those takes. Anyway,
I would definitely. I loved some of the songs you sent me. I'll probably look some more into some of the artists.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. The two songs that I was
Frank Turner, Frank Turner, you would like a lot. Scott, I'll tell you, or Tyler. Sorry, I think you both would, but Tyler, just because I gave Tyler the song,
I really like it.
Okay, so I guess that's good. I don't know if do you want to give a final thought? Do you have?
I mean, I feel like we gave our thoughts on it this week.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything.
I would say that, it's a cool experience. I feel like, okay, actually I do have a final thought. Okay. I've had this idea before. It would never happen at all, but like, I think it would be so good for humanity if it did. If you had a holiday where once a year it was like your birthday, everybody got one day out of the year where like their friends and family came over and just had to listen to music that person likes.
I would be down with that for sure.
Yeah.
Down with that for
That'd
sure.
Be incredible. Steal the world.
That's a genius idea, I think.
Because it is. It's
music is so personal.
A place that is so much more intensely personal than any other art form.
Yeah.
And like it is that sort of thing where it's like everybody wants to share their music.
Everybody does. If you like music, you want to. And I would say this, Tyler or Scott.
But it's hard to do because people don't. Like there's also that
so hard.
That
once you're older too,
where you resist into it when somebody shows you a new song.
And for sure, the older you get. And I would say, Scott, like, to your point, like that you made earlier about like music is me, like blaring music, and this is you're portraying yourself. Even if I don't, maybe as I get older, don't do that in my car, for example, like if that's not my main reason anymore, although it definitely was at one point, a younger kid like blaring rap, like, yeah, this is who I am. If we did what your experiment did, like that would be 100% true. If you want to get to know me, for example, the best way is if you ask me, give me 15 songs or something.
You serve your friends some food, you light up a joint, you drink some beer, and for 2 hours, everybody's just got to listen to the music.
I think that would be awesome.
I feel like I would hate that if I had to go to somebody who's super into metal for like a whole day.
But still, it would be something that would be.
It would be away from it being like, oh, I get what he likes about it. That expanded my mind.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I went to a whole weekend of metal and I still hate it.
Well, that's not.
But
at a festival.
I think if you get enough, if you are exposed to enough of any genre,
well, see what you're gonna get though in that setting is you're gonna get the guy being all excited. You're gonna see your friend.
Amateur metal. It was an amateur music festival.
Maybe.
Well, the other thing is in Scott's situation, you're gonna get like that one more, almost even though there'd be a few other people there, but like you're gonna get more of a one-on-one. And I think when you see somebody in front of you getting excited, and then you start to more understand, even if you don't like it, you can be like, wow, seriously, like. You can see, you'll see the joy in his soul.
And then you go, I don't get, what do you like about it? And then
you have that conversation. Yeah. Just open up to each other.
Well, I think that's
another holiday added on to all the other fucking holidays.
Put on President's Day or something. I don't care.
Memorial Day. Yeah, exactly.
Nah, how dare you? Not Memorial Day, but I'm not going to agree to that. But I'll say President's Day. Can we?
You keep it the exact same.
Can we compromise on President's Day? What about President's Day?
No, then you're adding another holiday. Nobody celebrates President's Day.
Well, the banks do, I think, technically.
Okay, if you replace Memorial Day, you can keep everything else the same. The drinking, the barbecue, all of that.
Just
but
the music.
Instead of giving veterans another day on top of Veterans
Day. That's fair.
You're you know what? Like a birthday situation. It wouldn't be one day a year. It's every single person gets a day.
That's a good point, too, by the way. It really would not even be on that. You know what? Even if it was Memorial Day, I'm still gonna give it to you because you're right. There is Veterans Day and there is.
Could you imagine that though? God damn it! I gotta go back over this dude's house for his. There's another music day.
Yeah, but you would
like 4 music days a year or something like.
That's fine.
Well, I mean, Tyler, we gotta like work out the details. It isn't exactly worked out yet. Okay, so
if you're doing it like birthdays, that's all I'm saying. That's how it works. You got 20 friends, you're going to 20 music days.
Yeah, and you know it's one of those things. If you want them to show up at yours, you got to go to theirs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That seems like a good place to end it. And so next week, we are going to divert a little from our normal thing.
Yes, we are.
So instead of, I know I hosted this week, but I have a very, very cool friend that I thought would be a great guest to have on our show. And by the way, I'm glad that she puts her name on Facebook as her. She has an Americanized name and her real name, because her real Russian name, her name is Jenny. She calls herself Jenny LaFemme. It's actually like Jenny Fidorovich or something, and I could never pronounce it. But
still can't.
I call her Russian Jenny in my phone, and so
Russian Jenny.
She's from Moscow, Russia, originally. She owns a TV and movie production company. She's a DJ who's toured the world playing house music. She runs a show on PBS that's like, I believe, in its 7th or 8th season called Startup. So she's been involved in a lot of really cool things, and she's been
so excited.
What's she doing on our podcast?
Yeah, what the hell is going on here?
Luckily, she really likes me. Thank God. So anyway, we're gonna have her on next week.
She really likes me.
She does. She really likes me.
Her. Yeah. We don't know her. She might hate us.
I don't think. Honestly, I don't know if this girl hates anybody.
See if she hates us.
Tune in, see if she hates us.
Right. I don't think if she hates anybody. She's one of the most cool people I
don't hate
know.
Anybody, but I hate those two.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
No, it'll be a great interview. It's gonna be very cool.
It should be very cool. I'm very, very excited.
I can't wait to ask her some questions about being in the industry, her whole life, the whole Russia thing, everything.
And I'll tell you, like, this is the last one because we're already going really long here. But I'll say, like, as a really good teaser, for example, for her is like, I mean, she is like literally showed up with her family, couldn't even speak English, She showed up in the Detroit area, I think in the mid 80s, couldn't speak English. Literally their family. I mean, the story you always hear about, like on fucking, some like, movie fucking make you cry thing, but like showed up with like a suitcase and like $500 and couldn't speak English. And now she's, like I said, she's literally has a show on PBS 7 years running, toured the world playing house music. So we're going to have her on next week and it should be really fun. So
look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, again,
that's it for this week on Two Hoopies, One Drunk. We really appreciate you guys. Brandon, for giving us a 5-star review and getting now going to get a tarot reading from our tarot reading from Scott, and he's actually ended up deciding he's going to buy a picture there from Tyler, which is really very, very cool. Honestly, we keep getting likes on our Facebook page every week. There's new likes and new subscriptions and new listeners, so we appreciate all of that, guys.
Yeah, share our stuff, review us.
Yeah, review us and get into we're doing this drawing every week so,
now.
Yeah.
So get into the drawing by liking or giving us 5 stars on iTunes and giving us a review and proving it to us on our Facebook page, just sending us a screenshot of that. Yep. If you do that, you get in the drawing, and you can either have a free drawing that I've made, pick from 3, or an hour reading from Scott. So do that.
All right. Sounds great. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week with that interview. All right. Woo-woo.